the budget adjustment deliberations. We continue from our meeting earlier today. Thank you very much for all returning so that we can conclude our work. Let's begin by the responses to the questions from Honourable Lecker on the CCTV cameras. That were on pages 23 to 27, please. Good afternoon and welcome to you all.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. It's good to see you all again. Must be a long day for you guys. In terms of the CCTV cameras that Honourable Lecker asked about earlier, we had an internal control assessment which indicated that we do not have sufficient CCTV cameras, particularly to cover all our storerooms and server rooms, etc. So the money that was allocated for that is in order for us to install CCTV cameras that will cover all the points that were highlighted in terms of the internal control assessment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Fischer. Honourable Lecker, I note that you had follow-up questions this morning. Would you like to pose them now?
Yes, Chair. Was actually wanted to understand in respect of that kind of work on CCTV cameras, how much exactly did we spend on those, and are they being controlled internally or they are controlled elsewhere? Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have other follow-up questions on the responses?
No, I'm okay, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Then over to you, Ms. Fischer.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Honourable Lecker. The CCTV cameras are monitored from our Joint Operations Centre, which is on the 6th floor right next to the chamber. That was revamped to be our Joint Operations Centre. There's someone monitoring those cameras continuously. I think Mr. Jawuddin would be better able to assist as to the exact amount. If Mr. Jawuddin can come in, that would be great.
Through you, Chair.
Thank you. If you're able to respond.
Chair, with regards to the exact amount that has been spent, I'll get the detail for the Chair, for the committee and provide it.
Thank you very much. Members, are there any then final questions on the details of the adjustments, pages 23 to 27? I had a question about the X-ray machines for the Queen Victoria entrance. Just to understand those X-ray machines there and also at 7 Whale Street, are those the property of the WCPP or are some of them the property of the SAPS, considering that the legislature is considered a key point?
May I respond, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. The scanners are procured through the Department of Community Safety. The Department of Community Safety, like the State Information Technology Agency, has specialised transversal contracts that they use to procure those, but it is paid for by us and it is the property of WCPP. In our assessment as a national key point, it was found that the Queen Victoria entrance is the only official entrance that does not actually have a scanner. We were also assured by Captain Krieger and the people from SAPS that they have enough resources to man or to tend to the scanners once they are installed.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions then regarding those pages? None? All right, then let's move on to the next set of pages, which are the actual payments, which is found on page 28 and 29. Any questions on page 28 and 29? Honourable Lecker.
Thank you, Chairperson. On page 28, I've noted that an amount of 342,000 has been retained for revenue over collected. in the 2020-2021 financial year to cover projects which were not completed. Can we get a detail on more details and updates regarding this and why when they were not completed? Yeah, that's 28. You said from 27 to 28, isn't it? Chair?
Sorry, I was on mute.
It's 27 to
28 up to page 29.
Okay, no, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. And then Honourable Allen.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. My question is linked. There is reference made to compensation regarding members and then support to members. I just wanted to double check via the secretary or the speaker in terms of claims submitted by members in the 3-month period. For example, if a claim is submitted and that claim is prior to the 1st of September, for example, or leading to August and it is submitted today, it will not be paid, but only the last 3 months. I'm not sure if I've missed something in that regard from the WCPP in terms of payments made and that no payments beyond 3 months, which is older than 3 months, will be paid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll hand over to the administration.
Chairperson, thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Titus will just shed a bit of light in terms of the question from Honourable Allen regarding the 3 months. I think the other question from Honourable Lekker was about the over collection and then the incomplete projects. If Mr. Jawadin and the CFO can attend to that for us, please. Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, can you hear me, Chairperson?
Audio is bad.
Madam Chair, I can shed light on the 3-month payment question by Honourable Allen. Honourable Allen, we did not have that in place as can everyone hear me? Do we have a problem?
Yes.
We didn't always. Thank you. We didn't always have that measure in place, but then we had a situation where members kept their claims and did not submit them until the end of the financial year, which made it impossible for the staff of WCPP to actually process the claims. In addition, with our monthly expenditure management, it made it difficult for us to have projections as to what our savings would be or what possible pressure points for funding would be. So then I think it was around about 2016 or 2017 that measure was introduced. And like I said, it's really just for us to know at any point in time what our real expenditure projections are, as well as to ensure that all claims can be processed before the end of the financial year.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. I'm not sure then for Honourable Lekker's question, who's going to respond to that?
Chairperson, can you hear me, Chairperson?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah, Chairperson, I think if I recall correctly, Honourable Lekker's question was about the over collection and then the assignment thereof to projects that have not been completed. I had asked whether the CFO and Mr. Jawadin could assist us with that question.
Thank you. Mr. Jawadin.
Thank you, Chair. Through yes, I can assist with that question. Just with regards to the over collection of revenue, that over collection of revenue specifically relates to revenue that WCPP receives from interest on our bank account, sale of old assets, as well as the redemption of debt specifically. But what that 342,000 particularly was utilized for was also that was also included in the overall rollover figures which was approved by the speaker to be utilized in the current financial year for project that was not completed in the prior year, as mentioned this morning. That small amount specifically, if I can just touch on the main item for which that overflow was utilized for, was for the finalization. There was quite a few training interventions that was planned in last year, but due to lockdown and the fact that a lot of those training sessions we had to arrange for Teams or online training specifically could not happen in last financial year. So quite a bit of that training had to be postponed into this financial year, which was finalized. So the majority of that revenue retention for project wasn't utilized for the training interventions as well as other expenditure at which was committed. So we basically utilized that the revenue retention for committed funds, like I said, the training and, for example, APAC fees that was for which an invoice was received. But only paid in April specifically, so that was utilized from the revenue retention, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Allen, is that a legacy hand?
Thank you, Chair. I'm covered.
Thanks very much. Then let's move on to the next pages. We're going to look at expenditure trends, economic classification and summary of receipts. Page 30, 31 and 32. Are there any questions on page 30, 31 or 32?
My hand is up, Chair.
Sorry, I don't see it, but please go ahead, Honourable Laka.
Thank you, Chair. Mine, Chair, the first one is around the graphic design services to finalize the tolerance logo application and create new artwork. Why was this necessary and what is the total budget for it? But also under the design, build and launch a digital platform for public. Since early 2020, we have proposed the need to upload question papers into the legislative website. Now, in terms of the previous response we received earlier, we would really like to understand if all of these will in future be included in the digital platform, and by when will this be done in terms of the details? Because we heard earlier that there were some technical glitches, but would like to know if there are dates attached to it so that it can all be attended to. And then under page 31, on the transfers and subsidies, can we be provided with more details and updates regarding the outstanding annual financial statements which party failed to submit and why? And this is in reference to the expenditure of 637,000, which is mainly due to outstanding annual financial statements by one of the political parties. Then again on page 31, Chair, I would like to know in terms of like the third bullet on the bottom page, in terms of the reconfiguration of 7 Wales Street entrance and the purchase of CCTV cameras, what exactly was reconfigured and how much was the total cost, including the procurement and installations of the CCTVs? Because in terms of the, let me just pause there for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Laka. If I may, just on the question of Honourable Allen on the 3-month payments, I mean, is this now reflected in the members' guide? Because previously it has not been reflected in the members' guide. And I know that there was supposed to be a training on changes to the members' guide, but that was cancelled. Can we just understand then what is the position on that for the payment of claims, please? All right, thank you. I'll hand over to respond to Honourable Laka's questions first.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, on the question of the graphic designs, Ms. Fushia will attend to that. And also the configuration of the Wales Street and the CCTV cameras, transfers and subsidies, the CFO and Mr. Jawuddin, and Mr. Titus will deal with the 3 months payments and the members' guide. But Chairperson, Honourable Lekker had also asked a question about, now this afternoon, but also earlier this morning, about the capturing of questions on the website. So, Chairperson, if you would just allow me, would I be able to just share what is currently on the website on the screen, Chairperson?
Yes, of course. Please do.
Okay. Chairperson, if I can just get there quickly. Chairperson, this is can everybody see? It's just from a link from the website, Chairperson.
We see your email.
Oh, okay. Let me just close the email quickly then, Chairperson. Okay, Chairperson, maybe just quickly, and not to waste too much time. Questions are currently being captured on the website. And there are technical challenges that the service provider is attempting to sort out for us in terms of the way questions are structured and the responses are structured specifically. But the colleagues from plenary support are continuing to capture the questions that they are able to capture. In terms of the website, if a member is desiring to search either per who asked the question or which member of the executive had answered the question, what is the question number, what is the topic specifically, that is able to be done on that functionality on the website itself. It is not that questions are not being captured, it's just that there are certain questions that and responses that the system does not want to accept because of the technicality on the configuration and the back end of the code that has been written, but the service provider has indicated that they are looking to assist us with that. The idea is that what is being captured at the moment is everything from the 6th Parliament. And once that has been updated, so it's from 2019 right up to 2021, once that has been captured, they'll then do the back capturing in terms of previous parliaments, so that it is captured on the website and members do have access to it and it is searchable. Thank you, Chairperson. Ms. Pushier will now attend to the questions that has been assigned to her. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Secretary. With regards to the CCTV cameras, Mr. Jarwoodin indicated that he would provide a detailed cost breakdown to the committee. In terms of the graphic design and the incorporation of the tolerance logo into the WCPP's corporate identity, as well as all the other graphic design work that forms part of this, we have made provision, or provision was made for 2 months for the service provider to finish all the projects. We have gone out on our electronic procurement system for service providers for this. It will definitely be concluded before the end of the financial year. The reconfiguration of 7 Wales Street, Madam Chair and Honourable Lecker, was also as part of an assessment of the WCPP as a national key point. And that is specifically relating to the flow of people into and out of the building, that there's often a bottleneck with people leaving and people entering, and it does not necessarily allow SAPs enough space and enough opportunity to properly scan people, especially when people leave the 7 Wales Street entrance. So the idea is that entrance will be processed in one flow and exit will be processed in another flow. The work will commence, or was supposed to commence, according to DTPW and Department of Community Safety, at the end of November, and it should be done by the time that we resume business in 2022.
Thank you. Then the question on the members' guide. Mr. Jarwoodin.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, I'm going to answer to the other question regarding the expenditure, if I may.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, you, Chair. Just to confirm with regards to the CCTV camera member, honourable member asked how much was spent on the CCTV cameras to date. That CCTV camera is currently in the procurement phase and we haven't spent anything as yet. However, it is in the process of being in the procurement process to be finalised in this financial year. Then with regards to the graphic design, the budget for that, in this current budget adjustments estimate, 70,000 Rand has been made provision for that, and a further 240,000 in the next financial year. With regards to the transfers and subsidies question regarding the the non-submission of the financial statement. That was as at the end of September, when all parties besides one had actually submitted the financial statements, so we could not pay all the allowances tranches. However, since then, all parties have submitted their financial statements, and we are on par with political parties' payments for subsecretary and constituency allowance, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. That all the questions dealt with?
Chairperson, there's one question that is outstanding. The question about the 3 months. I think it was your question, Chairperson, and the members' guide.
Yes.
Mr. Titus will respond to that, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Now, is my sound audible now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, Chair, so with regard to the 3 month, I think Ms. Bashir had indicated the reasons why behind the 3 months. We know that the owner of the policy owner is the speaker, and where there are deviations to the 3 months or anything else within the policy confine that the speaker could override or provide for extenuating circumstances within that space. I'm not able to speak specifically of particular individual members and whether they have been paid within the 3 month space, but where we have requested from the office of the speaker to make amends or to make amendments to the current policy situation, that have happened. What I can also say, Chair, is that we are in the process of reviewing the members' guide and to bring about different changes to the members' guide, in fact, to incorporate things like what you have mentioned previously, Chair.
Okay, so has the 3 months thing been included in the members' guide? So has there been a change in that respect, or not as yet? Is that still under review?
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think, to be specific, the issue of 3 months, it's never necessary. It's just that you do get 1 or 2 members who would forget to submit claims and realize, 6 months down the line, I forgot, I've got money somewhere there. And it's something that we discourage. That's why I will not include it in the policy. I have signed the updated members guide, which is on its way to the members. I've instructed my office to communicate with the members, and so the administration will deal with that. So I think the main things in the members guide which we have reviewed is what I spoke about earlier, which I don't want to belabor that point, but it's mainly on the accommodation and education. But you'll see it's quite a very progressive members guide. But the issue of submission of claims 8 months, 12 months down the way should be discouraged, because we are lawmakers here. So we should encourage members to submit at least, when we say 3 months maximum, it allows the administration to ensure that there's accountability. We can do our internal audit and be able to account. The AG will not come and say we don't give them the documentation on time for the purposes of audit. So that's basically that. So to dispense with that, it's simply for the purposes of administrative justice, accountability, and audit purposes.
Thank you very much. Members, can we then move on? Let's move on to the annexures, which are found on page 33 to 37. Annexure A and B, pages 33 to 37. If I could, I just have one question on page 35. Parliamentary support services, there's a differentiation there between committees and standing committees. I'd just like to understand, what is the differentiation between those two things, please? It doesn't seem that there are any. Oh, there we go. Honourable Lacka, if you have a question, please pose it.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, please pardon me. I kept on shouting follow up. I didn't realize that I was on mute. I have only one follow up with regards to the technical glitches on addressing how questions and responses are structured. Is there perhaps a brought forward date as to by when can that be resolved? My apologies sincerely.
And do you have any questions for on any of the annexures?
No, Chair.
Great, thank you. And then if I may, then my final question is on that same page 35, the Hansard services. See, there's a 433,000 Rand decrease, and just to understand why such a large decrease, that's almost half of the Hansard budget. We just have a bit of a insight there. And then I think that concludes the questions on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the question on the Hansard services, Mr. Stimele will attend to that with the support of Finance. The difference between standing committees and committees would also be Mr. Stimele. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. And then the question from Honourable Lacka about the technical glitches.
Our IT with plenary support services is dealing with that challenge. So it would then be Mr. Titus and Mr. Stimele. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stimele.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Chair, let's start with the committees and committees and standing committees. Standing committees basically will deal with the operations of the committee, of the standing committees as they are, how they do, and then committees will be then the section within the division that deals with, that provides support to the standing committees. And now on the Hansard, Chair, our Hansard services are being outsourced. They are so outsourced because the reality is that it has been proven to be more expensive for us to run it on our own and cheaper when we outsource them. And now our working with them has always been providing the seamlessness within the operations of the WCPP. But also probably it is worth to say, one of the things that have been coming up in the previous years was the issue of the digest of rulings and everything else that relates to that. Then it is because also those things would have happened ordinarily because the sitting of in the financial year will just end a day before the end of the financial year. So we wouldn't even be able to generate those. So those are the challenges that we're facing previously, but we've tried to address now through our changes within the organization. Thank you, Chair. Unless there is something, Chair, that would also like to add in terms of the questioning as a follow-up on the explanations.
Yes, please, if I may, on the Hansard services, I mean, their budget is being cut by half. So I'm just concerned that we will still enjoy the same level of service from the Hansard, which normally functions extremely well.
Yes, because as I've said, Chair, it has been cut by half because now we're no longer having the in-house Hansard services. And this is based also on what is being charged and what is being invoiced by the service provider.
Chairperson, if I could maybe just add also there, Chairperson.
Yes, please.
Chairperson, the fact that we've started, and I think it's throughout the reporting period, we've also been using Microsoft Teams, who also has its recording features that we then provide for Hansard services, has also assisted with the cost reduction. Chairperson, where usually the service provider would do the recording for us, the service provider would do the transcription, etc., etc. The recordings are now also done through the Microsoft Teams platform, and that also assists us. The Hansard individuals responsible for Hansard would also then at times just before COVID be on site. That is no longer necessary. So that service is no longer required because of the digital operations that we've been able to do through using Microsoft Teams and the hybrid sittings, Chairperson.
Understood. Thank you.
Chairperson, there was then one further question from Honourable Lecker in terms of the timeframes in dealing with the challenges with the capturing of questions. If Mr. Stimele and Mr. Titus could assist us with the response to that too.
Okay, Chair, let me just chip in there. Chair, the last update that we got was that the service provider was dealing with that, and the service provider would have gotten to us, to ITDS today, and probably then we'll see what happens tomorrow and day after. But in terms of dealing with the questions for this parliamentary term, if things go according to our plan as we have planned, and unfortunately we have to move the plan a bit, probably by the end of February, beginning in the first week of March, would have been able to have uploaded at least all the questions for this parliamentary term. And then we start again afresh in terms of going back as far as we can. Thank you.
Chairperson, if you would allow me again just to add to that response, Chairperson.
Yes, please.
Chairperson, I'm assuming that you can see now the link from the website, Chairperson, that I'm sharing, and the heading there is questions and replies. So this is just the website currently would look like. With all of the questions, you'll see we have 2020, 2019, even 2021 in terms of questions and responses that have already been captured by the team. On top here, you would be able to, and members would be able to see a question asked by whom, so it's searchable by that, answered by who, what was the question number, when, what was the date, and then also the search term specifically. If I, for example, just put in there police chairperson, the system would then go, as you would see, it's now changed there at the bottom. It would now search for all of the questions and all of the responses related to policing or SAPs that is then searchable for the members, Chairperson. I thought I'll just share that specifically. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I think that then concludes the questions on the budget itself. I don't see any further hands. All right, so thank you very much to the WCPP for bearing with us and for returning at this very late hour. Thanks very much for answering our questions. We thank the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Secretary, and the officials for their input and for responses on the budget that has been presented. Thank you very much. The WCPP may be excused at this point, and I ask the members of the committee to please stay behind.
Madam Chair, thank you very much, and to the members of the committee, it's been a pleasant experience to engage once more, and to the team and the Office of the Speaker, thank you very much, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, members.
Thank you all. All right, members, we have some committee admin to get through. Are there any resolutions, recommendations, or requests for information that anybody would like to table at this point?
Yes, Chair.
Honourable Laka.
Thank you. Mine would be just what Mr. Dawood has alluded to, which is the total number of CCTVs that we have in the precinct and the amount that will be used to procure those. And then maybe the last one, Chair, is around the activities in terms of the bills that we are busy with. If you may allow me, is there a possibility that from the beginning we can at least make a recommendation, and rather, instead of putting so much money, we put less in terms of the bills, because sometimes we don't get to finish the bills on time. Yes, the province is able to finalize, but then if we're not getting anything from the NCOP, it makes it difficult. And at the end of the day, we will have monies that we don't spend. I don't know how you're going to phrase that one, but it's just a concern from my side. Because if you look at the presentation that we always get from Mr. Sassman, there's always bills that have not been finished, which we're waiting from NCOP or wherever. Then maybe lastly, Chair would
sorry, Honourable Laka, I didn't understand. What is are you talking about Section 76 legislation from the NCOP?
Yes.
What precisely about it?
Look, we end up shifting monies, ne? And which, by the way, gets increased due to the delays when those sections are not finalized on time. So if we may,
those bills normally don't have a financial implication. The processing of bills doesn't have a financial. Oh, are you talking about the catering in the committee or?
Catering, including monies that are put aside for public hearings.
Okay, got you.
And then the last one, Chair, if I may.
So in respect of 76 bills that are delayed and the costs incurred, what is the recommendation?
That we don't budget too much money for it, because at the end of the day, we will end up having to shift those monies to someone else.
Wouldn't the answer rather be to ask the NCOP to stick to its deadlines?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I suppose we could write a note to the speaker to take it up with the speakers forum. Okay. All right, then the final one.
The final one, Chair, is around the internal controls in respect to the CCTV cameras that we have. I just want to check in terms of its monitoring, and can we get an amount of the expenditure that we incur as a result, as to how much do we spend for those people that are monitoring those cameras, and whether those cameras can also be, what do you call it, rewinded to see if there's been any activities on a particular date. Because I know in certain instances, CCTV cameras are unable to be back forwarded for a certain period.
My understanding is that the Department of Community Safety monitors the control room for those CCTVs, but we can certainly pose the question.
Thank you, Chair.
Make note of that. Anybody else? Okay. All right, can we then move to the consideration and adoption of the committee report now? Could I get an indication from the members, please, whether we support or not support the vote? Honourable Allen.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I move that we support.
Thank you. Honourable Lecker.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the ANC not to support the vote and exercise its minority in terms of Rule 90. Thank you.
Okay, we don't know if you're a minority yet. Let's check. Honourable Botha.
Thanks, Chair. I support the proposal of Member Allen.
Thank you. I also support the vote, so therefore the majority of the committee supports the vote. Honourable Lecker, you've requested that a minority view to not support the vote be included. Is that correct?
Correct, Chair.
Okay. All right. With that in mind, then I'm going to read out the report.
Excuse me, Chairperson. I just want to load that report, Chair.
Okay, there we are. Draft was sent out. We'll read committee reports. We can remove the drafts. Report of the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Vote 2, Provincial Parliament, and the schedule to the Western Cape Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill B. Have to add that in. What is the bill number?
It's B6.
B6 2021, dated 7 December 2021. The Parliamentary Oversight Committee reports that it has concluded its deliberations on Vote 2 Provincial Parliament in the schedule to the Western Cape. Just take out the word second there. Western Cape adjustments. It's not the second, it's the only adjustments appropriation bill B6 2021. Referred to the committee in terms of Standing Rule 188 and that it supports, with an S, the vote referred to it. Minority view in terms of standing rule 90, the ANC expressed its minority view that it does not support the vote. Is everybody happy with that?
Yes, Chair.
Can we adopt the report?
I propose to adopt, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Botha. I'll then second that. The report is then adopted. Then we just have a couple of documents to finalise here. With your indulgence, let's quickly get through those and then we can cancel tomorrow's meeting. All right, Mr. Davids, can I hand over to you or to Ms. Kluter? There we are.
Person, it's Lizette. I'm flighting first the minutes of 20 August.
Thank you. This is on the first quarterly performance and financial reports. Just have a look at attendance there. Okay. All right, page 1, any edits or amendments? Page 2. Let's just have a look at those. We've already received most of that information. Page 3. Okay, can we adopt the minutes? Honourable Allen?
Thank you, Chairperson, and also thank you to the procedural officer who duly provided us with the information beforehand. I move that we adopt. Thank you.
Thank you. The minutes then are duly adopted. Let's go to the next document. Okay. This is the minutes of the annual report session. Let's go down, attendance. Okay, page 2. Any edits or amendments there? And page 3. There we are. Page 2. Can we then adopt the minutes of the annual report meeting?
I adopt, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Lekker. The minutes are then adopted. Let's move to the next one.
There's no seconder, Chair.
Anybody would like to second those minutes then?
I cannot, was not there.
Chief of the most recent one, I will second. Thank you.
Done. All right, then this is our tracking document. This is for noting purposes. Mr. David, you just want to talk us through it, please?
Yes, Chairperson. Chairperson, so the last meeting of the committee, Chair, was on the 20th of August. That's prior to the 16th of November meeting, Chair. And the committee had some resolutions in these minutes that we just adopted, Chair. Chairperson, those requests for information has been sent to the institution. And the institution, as you can see, they sent it back to us. Their replies on the 17th of October, and on the 18th of October, it was sent to all of the POC members, Chairperson. So there is nothing currently outstanding with regards to the resolutions of this committee.
Super, thanks very much. The tracking document is then up to date.
Yes.
Super, then let's move. I think we've got 2 more reports to adopt. One is the second quarter report, is that correct?
Yes, Chairperson. We're just waiting for it to be flighted, Chair.
Okay.
Dustin, can you flight it? I think I have too many documents open.
Okay, not a problem. Let me just flight
the next one.
Not a problem. I'll just flight this quarterly report, Chair.
I wonder if we can make it slightly bigger for us.
Oh, there's a Chair. Can you see a Chair? Okay, let me just make
there we go.
it
On 4 pages.
There we
There
go.
we go. Okay. All right. So this is the July to September report.
Yes.
Let's move on to page 2. Mandate and institutions. We can move on to page 3. There was 1 meeting in the quarter, which was on the performance and financial information. And then we also had that briefing on the electronic dashboard.
Yes.
Right. Page 4.
Just the table of
attendance. All right. Page 5.
Then, Chair, there was no legislation, there was no oversight visit, there was no invitations, and then the budget, there was no expenditure, Chair, because our meetings were all online.
Perfect. Can we then adopt the quarterly report? Members, can we adopt the quarterly report?
Chairperson, I move that we adopt.
Thank you. And thank you, Honourable Botha. The report is then adopted. Let's move to the annual report, and that is the last one for the day.
There we go, Chair. Let me just load that one up, Chair. Just want to get it quickly for the committee members.
Right, there we go.
I've got it, Dustin.
No, that's perfect.
It's on the screen. Let's go down. This is the cover page. Then let's move down to, we can go past the contents. Then page 3 is the introduction of the annual reports, trusting that members have read this. Okay, let's move. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. And page 9. All right, can we then adopt the report on the annual report?
I do.
Thank you, Honourable Lecker. Can I have a seconder, please?
I second if I can.
Thank you, Honourable Botha. Then the annual report is duly adopted. I'd like to thank Mr. Davids for those reports that he very professionally drafted, and thanks to Ms. Klitter for her oversight thereof. Thank you, members, for today. We've come to the end of the meeting. Thank you for bearing with us. I know it's very late. I'd like to thank Mr. Davids and Ms. Klitter for all their preparations for this meeting and the hard work that has been put into it. Thank you very much, members. It would be remiss of me not to thank our IT colleagues who have worked very hard, and thank you very much for ensuring a very smooth meeting today. We're very grateful for your assistance. The meeting is now adjourned. Stay well, everybody.
Thanks to you, Chair.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, members.